I wanted to share with you today about why people keep restarting their fitness all the time and how it relates to what's called a self-image. Alright, the self-image is how we actually perceive ourselves and how we actually see ourselves as individuals. It's kind of like our perception of what we see in ourselves. It's like identity, you know, like it's real identity. And the self-image became, I would say, famous from one of the most famous books ever called Cybernetics, which was written by a doctor many years ago, about like constantly wanting things outside of yourself all the time, like looking for new images, when deep down inside of us we have this inner stance of how we perceive ourselves and who we are regardless of the circumstances every single day in life. I wrote down, I'll be honest, I had to write down 5 things that I wanted to share with you today of why I believe, and not just me, scientifically, people keep restarting their fitness all the time, and why they keep just relapsing back all the time to square one, which is down to self-image. Makes sense? Self-image brings us back a lot of the time to who we are, who we believe we are, alright? Who we show up as every single day in life, right? That's a self-image. Like, self-image is the decisions that we make for ourselves all the time, you know? How we look at ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, the limiting beliefs that probably hold us back from achieving things, you know? And I'm going to just go through this a little bit too, right? So the first thing I wanted to go through was motivation. Motivation is either intrinsic, which is internally self-image, and it's extrinsic, which is externally motivated. Now, with the rise in social media, phones, the demands for some people to probably keep up with that, luckily enough, myself, I don't have to do that. I don't really tie my self-worth to social media or anything to do it, so I'm quite intrinsically motivated most of the time. Makes sense? Like, meaning it comes from within. It's, I'm gonna do it anyway. Makes sense? It's who I am as a human being. It's what I do. It's identity, self-image. Makes sense? So the thing is that I'd say that is like intrinsic motivation is kind of like this. Let's say, for example, right? Here's something I hear all the time, right? And someone would say to me, Ray, this is what most men say. And this is not in a judgmental way. I want a body recomposition. I want all the muscle and I want to lose the fat at the same time. And I want to be able to do this, and I want to have a set of abs on the beach. This is what I get, right? No, like, you get that? Yeah. And like, would I be able to do that for an individual? Absolutely, no problem. But would that individual want to do the requirements that it actually takes to get that physique? And that's where intrinsic motivation really comes in, right? That's where identity becomes in. Because our current situation right now, if you're asking me them questions, it's obvious that what you're currently doing is not working. So this is your this could be either your self-image or your temporary self-image. And when I mean temporary self-image, means you might not want to keep it. Like, you might actually really want to make a change. And then you're probably understanding of like, right, now I know what I want, which is still a bit intrinsic or extrinsic motivation, because the goal is driven outside of us. Makes sense? And like, I'll explain this more. So let's come back to intrinsic, alright, which is internal motivation. And that's like, the goal might be, right, the reason why I really want to do this, it's not about the abs, it's not about the body, it's I want to stay around for my partner, I want to look well for my partner, you know. And this way it starts to get deep. Then it's like, do you know what, I want to be able to run around with my children, because when I'm running around with them and playing with them, I'm out of breath. And like, I've a lot of body fat on me at the moment, and I want to lose this body fat, because in reality I'm exposed to metabolic diseases. I'm more on my way to chronic inflammation. I probably have it right now than I am actually feeling healthy, you know. And like, it starts to come from internal, and we start to get really, really deep on this. I don't hear it all. It's all, a lot of it comes down to like, realistically, why somebody wants to make a change is that they want to be around for their grandkids and kids. That's the deep. That's where when we start asking the right questions and kind of finding things out, and that's real intrinsic motivation. And then let's go back to the body with the abs and the shredded. Will that help you stay healthy long term? We see so much stuff about this longevity everywhere online. Let's be honest. Will I drink this for longevity? Will I take that for longevity? Let me tell you something from the science, alright? You see skeletal muscle tissue. That is the #1 organ for longevity in our bodies, alright? It balances hormones. It supports so much different stuff. It allows us to be able to use glucose for fuel. It teaches us how to use fat for fuel. It helps us get stronger. It helps us stay pain-free. There's so much stuff that muscle tissue does that, yes, when you get yourself into very, very good condition, there would be a little bit of a longer longevity. So it's not that people lack motivation. Makes sense? Because most people, even when I'm speaking to people, like, on average, most people that I'd ever speak, and I've done thousands of consultations. Like, you have to think, like, on 20 years traveling the world, working in 10 gyms and online, like, so the amount of consultations I've done and the amount of stories I've listened to, and I kind of realised that people are quite smart. Like, they actually have tried so many different plants in the past. They've tried, they know stuff about this diet and that diet and this training, but I just think they're so scattered and overwhelmed that they're in a paralysis by analysis, that they just keep restarting, going again, jumping on the bandwagon. And it's all these limiting beliefs. Do you see the way these words that we say to ourselves are tied to our self-image? Just sit with that. The words we say: back on the horse, back on track, Monday, Easter. Now the new one today would be, kids are back in school, let's get at it. How long is that going to last? Be honest. Alright, do you know what, January, and it's usually like, it's never like, I'm not using me, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight at the moment, but like, my training has come down, makes sense, and my nutrition there's not much changes, because I've been doing this for years, and I get other people where I just need to tweak it, because there is no special diet, there is no special kind of training. We just need to train with a purpose and make it lasting over the duration of time. See, self-image matters. So just kind of really, really think of the words that we say to ourselves, because they could be either bringing us backwards or bringing us forwards. And this is why when I'm working with people all the time, I really, really keep working on this self-image thing to show somebody where they're at and where we're really going. If we read a book by Dusan Vojkovic, I think, Straight Line Leadership, it's one of the greatest books ever wrote in, I think, it's like Psycho-Cybernetics. It was wrote in the early 90s. It's still €90 to buy today if you have to buy it, and you have to get it on hardback. And even that book, the whole purpose of that book is, how do we keep people on the straight line? How do we keep them from going zigzag, yo-yoing, stopping all the time, and just take them from A to B, not A to D. We're not going to D, we're just trying to go to B. We're just trying to get the first goal, the first identity, and then we can go B to C. We don't need to go A to C, C to A to F, F to D, and just keep hopping all the time. You know where I'm coming from? It's not really doing anything. We're just going to keep restarting. Now, the next one I had, how the restart damages your self-image. How does the restart damage the self-image? Basically what happens is this, alright? So how it starts to damage our self-image is that it constantly makes you feel like you are worthless, And we start to develop this learned helplessness because we just keep trying and trying what's not working. Because in reality, it's kind of very, very simple to get results, right? And let me just tell you this, right? There's two pathways in your body that get results, right? It's just, you probably heard of things like mitochondria, right? And people throw mitochondria around, right? You hear of mitochondria, which mitochondria is anything to do with mitochondria. Basically what mitochondria do is, right, when we put energy into our body for food and we make an energy source called ATP, alright? And that ATP, when it's used in muscle contraction at intensities, becomes ADP. The ADP gets reused and recycled to make ATP again, alright? To continue exercising or running or wherever. In endurance, this is why most endurance people have a good mitochondria. They're able to keep supplying oxygen. They're able to keep, make sense? So you're either going to choose your aerobic pathway or your anaerobic pathway. And like, I'm not saying anaerobic, or your muscle building pathway. They're two completely different things. Like it's realistically, it's like they're just sort of different. So let's say if a person is looking to stop restarting, and most people that will do this, or the one way I want to say is for building muscle tissue. Alright? The mitochondria and aerobic system doesn't build muscle. It's like it does in different ways of like slow twitch muscle fibers, but when you're looking to improve your fitness levels and looking to grow muscle, they're two different things. That's all I'm saying. Like they're two different kind of goals, but can you do them together? You can. But again, it needs to be specific, and it needs to be progressive over the duration of time. Let me simplify that. So it needs to be specific, right? Let's say we want to grow muscle tissue and we also want to be fit when we do it. Most people now are buying into what's called a hybrid model, where they do muscle building, strength, calisthenics, and they combine it with some cardiovascular work, and it's an all-round kind of fitness level. That's the way it's kind of moving towards now, and it's become very popular, and it's great. It's definitely great. But the goal that we're looking to achieve in that are two different goals to achieve, right? Because if we want to grow muscle tissue, what grows muscle tissue is when I say like weight training, but weight training like in resistance training. But when I mean that, like, it needs to be a program that now I've coached people where they come in and it takes me even a couple of weeks to actually show them how to start training with a purpose, to be able to actually develop their muscle tissue and to be making sure that they're making progress with what they're doing, alright? I teach them about training intensities, I teach them, and I just simplify it to them and I say, look, this is what we need to do to grow muscle tissue and get you stronger. Not all this fancy stuff all the time. We need to find out like what you're looking to achieve and how we can set you up. I'll give you a little bit of an example, right? And again, I don't want to use myself or stuff like that. Like I even coach busy parents, right? And some of them literally haven't got the time that I'd have available. So when they're asking me to strength train them, and like a lot of these would get in shape, keep the weight off years, self-image. They're not restarting all the time. But I make it simple for them. Alright, you have 2 days into the gym. And a lot of time I'd even say, it's taking you a half an hour to get to the gym, half an hour to leave. By the time you eat, why don't we just do 2 days? We'll do 2 full bodies, and I'll teach you a bit of supersetting with 90% of the most important exercises that actually help us tone our body and build muscle. You see the way we can personalise it, and I'll say to them, you know what, I'll be honest with you, mate, the other 3 days, I'd rather you just improve the nutrition a little bit, because that's going to do a lot of the work, rather than stressing out to go to the gym 5 days a week. Stressing, it's not really sustainable. And then trying to do everything else on top of that. Lack of sleep. Now, I don't want to go into sleep deprivation either, because that's a whole other video of how that can negatively impact training. So you'd be best off sleeping than you would doing excessive amount of training. Another reason why we restart. So the reason why people keep restarting all the time and how it's tied to their self-image is that they just keep trying all these different stuff all the time. And it's kind of like not having true clarity of vision of like, right, what do I actually want to achieve in the year from my personal life, right? And most people would probably have that. You want to have a job, your career, you want to be a better father, mother, wherever you want to do in the year, right? And then it's like, right, what do I want to do with me fitness destiny? Like, where do I want to be with me fitness goals? And like, it's not this little like 6-week program or anything like that. Like, where do I want to be? Like, let's start getting serious about this stuff, because we should be getting serious about it, because it's our health. Like, it's our well-being as a human being. Like, it's so important. Like, it's vital for us how we are. So think about it, right? And then we start saying, like, what do I actually want to achieve, right? And then let's say we automatically say to ourselves, like, I'll give you an example. I wanted to squat 100 kg after coming out of an operation 3 or 4 years ago. I'm now and it took me 4 years. Like, but at the end of the day, I'm squatting 100 kg, well, 120 sometimes, and I wanted to be able to do more than 10 pull-ups, and I'm able to do 17, I think I got last week. But that took years. I'm not saying that you have to take years, but also nutrition came into play. I had to get leaner to be able to pull up more. I had to be able to get leaner to be able to recover better. Makes sense? I had to grow muscle tissue to contribute to getting stronger. Are you with me? So, but the most important thing is to have the clear goal. Where do we want to go? And the next question is, why do I want to achieve this? Why do I want to actually achieve this? It's not, I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to be on all this. The real reason why I want to achieve this is, I don't know, you might be single. You might want to go out and attract a new partner into your life. You might want to look better for your own partner. I'm just saying in general. You might just want to look better for your job. You might speak publicly. There's so much stuff that you might have as a responsibility that your self-image, when you're not achieving this and you have the little bit of weight, you're probably blocking everything off. You know, you're putting it to the side. You know, I know how humans act. Or I'll do that, the procrastination. You know what? I'll do that when, and that when, I'm gonna do that next month, and all of a sudden, we ended up just staying in the one spot all the time. Where I'm coming from. So just really, really think about this. How do I set myself up for stop restarting all the time and actually improve my own identity? Because the thing, what happens is that when a person wants to achieve a goal, right? Like they kind of look at, like, I'll just give you an example of a person that's in very, very good shape, would probably have a 6-pack or near enough a 6-pack, or even looks like great lines on their stomach as a girl, or just in very, very good shape, right? And then everything. I'm not saying that you have to be that, right? But I'm just saying, right? Like, do you honestly think that they're not tracking their nutrition, that they're not training and exercising consistently on a program, and that they're not actually sleeping well every single night? And there's no way that they're probably like not preparing their 3 to 4 meals a day consistently, where it's just self-image. See, it's just on automatic, because we are on automatic. So we're either on automatic moving ourselves forward to the person we want to become, or we're on automatic probably waking up in the morning, looking at our phone, we're gone onto social media. The news has taken us sideways. Before you know it, we go to the local, wherever, the local donut shop, and it gets out of hand. I know how it operates. Whereas all of a sudden, we can kind of understand that the goal that we're looking to achieve, are we setting ourselves up with the right non-negotiables and habits every single day to become this person? Make sense? And that could be temporary self-image to a new self-image that you're looking to achieve, a new identity to become the new person. Because if we even dived into, say, psychology science, right? And like, none of this is made up. I wouldn't do that. That's plagiarism, or not plagiarism. That's false branding, would it be? But or pseudoscience. But if you kind of look into the future self science, right? So you've got future self science, which is identity. You've got current self and you've got past self, right? So we're either operating in them three ways every single day. We're in this present moment, we're in the past, or we're in the future, right? Now, I read books belong to Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I'd highly recommend you read his books. I know a lot of my clients have and other people. And I've read all his books, to be honest. I've read them all a couple of times. I've watched all his YouTube channels and I've read a lot of his articles. Tony Robbins just paid Benjamin Hardy for his latest book because he's that good. So he's got a PhD in organizational psychology. So I respect that. I respect people in general, but like, I really like say, wow, let's study this person. And he even says it himself, because he wrote the book called Personality is Not Permanent, alright? And he always says that it's easier to bring your future self to you than away from you. And what that means is, like, it's better to start coming who you want to be now than wait until the kids go back to school, or wait until January, or wait until another time, and wait, and all of a sudden we're just living in the present or the past. Makes sense? Which is what we're actually probably doing every single day as we're going along. So how, like, a person then would understand that if you have a goal and you're looking to achieve it, now we're not going to be able to do that right away, but it's probably better to start moving at least towards that than just keep waiting all the time. Because the decisions that you make every single day are what's going to actually be moving towards that regardless, alright? So like nutrition habits, training habits, sleep habits, all these great habits that we need to be doing that actually just become skills on how we're wired. Now, the next one is rebuilding self-trust. That's another thing that happens from restarting all the time, right? Is when we're by ourselves and when we are, sometimes we just feel devastated, frustrated, and lose a bit of trust in ourselves as a human. And what kind of happens is that the reason I'm just stuttering a bit, because this was just a reminder on a call I was on, and we were talking about someone that even knows what to do, but the more you know what to do, when you keep starting it all the time, you just, like, you know how to probably lose the first 10 pounds, but you've done it so many times that this time you just haven't got the, you just don't want to do it again because you don't know how to keep it off and you don't know how to stay there this time. So that's what can kind of happen. So if we could start building trust inside yourself, would be the small wins. Let me explain that to you. Let's say we all want to get into shape and stay in shape, right? We all want to look good, lose the unwanted weight, probably look better in our clothes, you know the stuff. So, to rebuild self-trust, we have to kind of really look at what is the habits that a person or what you want to look like would do every single day to be able to maintain that physique. Like, just kind of think of that. What would you say they would do every single day? What, like, from the minute they wake up in the morning, on an average person, what would that average person be doing? Would you like me to tell you my experience after listening to thousands of podcasts, interviews, reading science for the last 15 years, not to put myself on a pedestal, all the textbooks, all the master degrees, all everything that I've ever done, right? I'll tell you what even top professionals are doing in sports and stuff like that. No problem. Right, so you kind of realise, if you look even into Cristiano Ronaldo, right? I know you aren't there. We look into, say, all these great athletes, and we think they're doing something special, the ice baths and stuff like that. No, they're not. Look at their nutrition. It's kind of a similar breakfast every single day. And I think Ronaldo or something would eat like the egg whites in the morning with something else. And I haven't seen his in a while. And it might be some form of vegetables. And it might be one slice of toast. Or not even 2, and they might be hydrate themselves well, and they might even have like a little bit of fruit, right? But then they probably go do a bit of activity, training, moving, and then they'll have a lunch. They'd probably have a lunch in general, but that lunch would not be Five Guys. That lunch would not be Domino's Pizza. That lunch would not be bags of donuts or stuff like that. But it might be something that they would like and that tastes actually good for their culture. For an example, it might be something with you. You might have like some form of a carbohydrate on the side that you can kind of like, and it might even just be a sandwich. And then it might be like, I had someone doing like a chicken and rice a couple of weeks ago. Really enjoyed it, but ate it 6 days a week. Kept them full, satisfied. It's about finding what you like for the lunch and keeps you in alignment with the goal. And then throughout the midday, there might be a snack, something quite healthy, hydrating themselves well. Come home in the evening and they have something for dinner, either with their families, with their friends, and possibly a little small dessert. Like, that's possibly what most would do long term. Now, other people might fast, other people might try different plans all the time. They might try different stuff, they might have their own stuff, but there's always a structure inside of it that builds consistency, because rebuilding self-trust is getting them small little wins. Before you go to bed, you track what you're going to do with nutrition the next day. You have it all alignment, there's nothing in the house, you go to the grocery store. And the reason I can say that to you is I've lived in loads of countries, I've been living in Airbnbs, I've been living all over the place, different places, Thailand, everywhere. So I haven't got a car, so I still have to go to grocery stores to stay cheap. I have to go to supermarkets and get stuff and prep stuff and adapt and become resourceful, because we need to become resourceful and understand that if we don't, there's a high possibility that I could just go out of shape in about 10 to 14 days. Like, it can happen. It's happened many times. Like, we got to keep on it. Do you know where I'm coming from? Remember, identity. The habits, rebuilding self-trust. The more you start to do all this is the thing. We rewire our brain through neuroplasticity, alright? Now, we're not going to go into neuroplasticity today because we'll be here for a long time. But basically, we have the ability and capacity to rewire our brain, alright? It just takes probably a year or 2 years. So we can actually change these habits, and that's when we start rebuilding the self-trust with what we're doing. So just kind of think about it. Like, then, what else would a person do that's rebuilding self-trust? They probably go and exercise, and they have a weight training program 3 to 4 days a week. They might have a running program. They might even be out playing paddle or playing some kind of sport with their family or their friends, but they're doing it consistently over time. They're not like, and again, I'm not being disrespectful to anyone, but it's not like, alright, beast mode, let's get this done, alright, we're going all in, I'm not hanging around with any more people anymore, I'm not going out to any places to eat with them people anymore, they're a bad influence. That's all lies, that's all your self-image. You should be well capable of being trained or educated to go out with any single individual, and sometimes if you want to say no, say no. Like, you don't have to people please, but you can just turn around, and you should know how to actually make an educated decision in burger places, McDonald's with the kids, restaurants, and then kind of stuff. It's just about becoming more educated and know how to make the right decisions. Am I making sense? All of the clients that work with me, they're probably watching this now. They know I train them on all this. I teach them on all this. Like, I think that's why they probably get the most results, because how they're able to just travel, do what they want, do that kind of stuff. But again, it's very, very important, you know. So when you can start rebuilding self-trust, the next one that would come for that is rebuilding self-trust is you creating a plan for your life. Not for 4 weeks here, not to get ready for the wedding. Like, there's nothing wrong getting ready for the wedding, but you know where I'm coming from. Like, what are you doing after the wedding? What are you doing after the photo shoot? what's the plan then? Like, because like, even if we're doing all these things, and this is not in regard to one person, like, doing all these photos for your social media or stuff like that, and again, that's probably fine, but like, would you not just rather show up as your authentic self all the time and show up of how you look? And that's not, I hope I'm not coming across like quite judgmental towards you or a criticism, but that's just probably how I see things. You know where I'm coming from? The point I'm trying to make is just get yourself into shape and do the best that we can do to stay in shape. A plan for life. You know, because dieting is hard. Like, let's be honest. That's why but you can make it easier, but when you go into dieting, you can probably do it once and learn how to stay there, and then learn how to maintain for a while, eat more food, improve your training performance, you know. So that's the reason why I believe, after speaking all this, why people keep restarting. If you have any questions based on how to actually set up a plan for life and how to put the right systems in place, I do have like a get in shape and stay in shape system where I help people with improve your environment, like I spoke with that. I personalise nutrition to you, I personalise exercise to you, I personalise stress management and sleep specific to you, because remember, you're different to everybody else, even probably watching this video. You're probably quite different, so I'd have to actually have a look at what you are doing every single day and get you really clear and focused on what you're looking to achieve, if there's any deadlines throughout the year, and set you up for success in the most simplest, direct way. Makes sense? Without overcomplicating your life. But the other thing is that you'll get told the truth, and when you understand the truth, at least you'll know what it's going to take for your specific goals. I'll give you an example. I had a lady one day, right? And she couldn't see out of her eyes, sadly, and she hired me to help her just with nutrition to do a 10k, right? Have a testimonial. So we got to the 10k after 4 months, right? You're probably saying 10k in 4 months, is that all? Remember, she couldn't see because she's going to have a hospital bed, right? Then all of a sudden, she went on to do triathlons. Then she ended up doing 100k. Then she ended up beating the time on 100k and going to bed that night while everybody else was in pain while beating her time, because we improved the conditioning over it. I was trying to train her on, like I says, hang on here for a minute. No, January, February, March, we're building your foundation. You're not stepping off and going, wandering and jump back up. We're building the foundation. None of this. You work in a calendar year if you want to be an athlete. I'm just saying. We work the calendar year. We work on things like, and inside of that, I was able to teach her like how I could get her, like what carbohydrates work well for her, so she's not vomiting, so she's not getting nausea, so nothing's happening to her. Makes sense? What are the right carbohydrate mixes before we go into race day and we make mistakes? Let's get all this done in the pre-season. Makes sense? So she ended up going on and doing a 100-mile run, and now she's working for scientific studies. But see, it has to be personalised to her, you know? It's the same with like football players and busy parents and all the different. It has to be, in my opinion, it's very, very important to get it specific to you. I'm finished with my little ranting. Hope I don't bore you anymore. Just drop me a message or drop me a comment, and feel free to reach out. It's not a sales pitch, like it's just, you're gonna just get the truth, and if I can actually help you and you believe that I can help you also, we could discuss what you're looking to achieve, no problem. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, but also I do appreciate the continued support. It gives me motivation to keep showing up all the time and provide value for at least one person. I hope one person can even get some value out of this. If there's more, the merrier. But thank you very, very much.